From the Great American Speedway, iRacing's NASCAR Race Night on RaceSpot TV gears up for some NASCAR iRacing Class B Series action from the Texas Motor Speedway, and it all begins right here next on RaceSpot TV. Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to iRacing's NASCAR Race Night on RaceSpot TV, streaming live at our partners at iRacing Live and Fans Choice TV, live from the wild asphalt circus of Texas Motor Speedway. We look forward to an exciting night of NASCAR iRacing Class B Series action, and topside on the call with you tonight alongside of myself, Evan Pasoko, joined by Rachel White for the Randy Jenneth down in the production trailer, Hugo Louise in the director's seat tonight. Rachel, always exciting NASCAR Race Night in our off weeks for the NASCAR Peak Interview Series. This time it's the NISB cars at Texas. This is one of the more entertaining intermediate racetracks on the season, and we have a good little barn burner tonight for 100 laps, 150 miles, start to finish.
Yeah, good evening, Evan. We certainly do. It's going to be a great race here tonight, of course. Expecting some fast, furious racing here. 2 wide, 3 wide. We're going to see all of it tonight. The biggest thing, it's going to be tyres. It's always tyres in the 20 Series. These cars will burn them up in no time. It's going to be an exciting race.
It will indeed, and with that, the FineBet qualifying session has drawn to a close, and we are just about ready to get this race underway. Let's take a look trackside at your RaceSpot TV starting grid. Logan Clampett going to make the start from pole position tonight at 28.853. Going to put the number 2 Chevrolet on the top spot. And winner from the race just 2 hours ago, Ryan Luza in the number 1 Chevrolet. He'll sit shotgun on the front row in P2. Brian Ammerman going to start tonight in 3rd. 4th place, the number 9 Trent Ringler and Viker Vandesdal will start in the number 5 spot.
Starting in P6, and that is on the 3rd row there, will be Justin Douglas. Behind him will be Adam Burley and Alex Scribner. And starting in row 5, Edward Bursch Jr. and Brian Nerflinger.
Outside the top 10, the number 11 spot is Chad Harner with Paul Bliss starting in the number 12 position. Michael D. Wade in 13th. 14th is Jake Hayes with Sean Ryan rounding out your top 15 cars.
Starting from P16 backwards, it's Brandon Holder. Behind them, Landon S. Correa, John McKeer, Ray Doran, Nick Neben, and Brian Bowie. Last 3 cars on the track, Jeffrey Parker, Ryan Tate, and Brandon H. Thomas.
So a couple of names on the racetrack that you'll know and recognize from across the sim, but even some names that'll sound familiar if you tune in on Tuesday nights with us for the NASCAR PK Free Series. Randy, 100 laps though tonight. We talked a little bit before we hopped on about the strategy game here. Probably looking at a 2-tire sequence, but so far in the trends that we've seen this week at this racetrack, we haven't seen many of them stretch out and go green entirely all the way. We do have a fairly full field tonight based on the split sizes. 100 laps, Logan Clampett, he's got the best seat in the house, though. He'll get an opportunity to try to get out in front of it all early.
Yeah, in terms of strategy, like you said, tires are going to be important here, but the thing is here at Texas, Racing's normally close, and when the racing's close, a little mistake can bring out a yellow pretty easy. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we get 2 or 3 cautions, if not more, perhaps over the course of the event. Other thing I've talked about, I think, looking at our starting grid, only 2 cars managed to get themselves under that 29-second bracket, with Ryan Luz obviously running that 28.9, and Logan putting himself on pole at 28.8.
He'll try to take home the checkered flag as he gets set to make his 2016 NASCAR PK Series powered by iRacing debut next Tuesday right here on Race Spot TV. But it is round number 6 on this 2016 Season 2 Championship for the NASCAR iRacing.com Class B Series. And we're happy that you're joining us for NASCAR Race Night right here on Race Spot TV. The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down and away, and we'll see what that number 2 can do at the front of the field. We get set to drop the green. Green flag now flies and underway from the Texas Motor Speedway. We go lap number 1 of 100 into the works, and without a surprise, we already get him single filed out inside of the top 5, inside of the top 6 now, down through turns 1 and 2. Logan Clampett leads the way.
Good run by Logan Clampett at the front there. Drivers all trying to get single file behind him, like you said, Evan. These guys really don't want to be on the high side there. That really eats up those tyres in these cars. On the outside there, we've got the number 11 car there of Alex Scribner. That's Chevrolet doing his best to get down. He does just do that, as behind him, still racing 2 wide.
Yeah, and the 2 on, going to put a couple of guys up and out of the groove. The 17 machine caught the fence the last time by Randy. That was John Micah. It cost him a few spots as well.
Yeah, just close racing coming up off the tree, just barely snagged it. A little bit of cosmetic damage there, but I don't know if that's going to be hurting him too bad. It's actually going to be making a move, I believe, on the C18 car right in front of him. Going into turn 3, he's going to have the inside. If he's able to hold it, he's going to make it look easy. And coming up off of 4, he's up 1 spot, Evan.
He tries to march his way back through to the front of the field. The guys up front, as we said, they were all single file by the time he came off at turn number 2. We'll see a couple of battles here tonight. Guys who maybe out-qualified themselves going to have to fight hard for some of those top spots. Some guys that really didn't get the qualified result that they would have liked. Try to move up to the field. A good battle right now down the back straightaway. The 20 of Paul Bliss. He'll slide to the inside on the number 8 Chevrolet top side of Chad Harner. Harner started in the number 11 spot. He went +1 to P10, but you'll see Bliss try to take that spot away. Jake Hayes made the move on him down in turn 1. Bliss going to make the move on him as well, it looks like, in turn 1 this time around. So cost that number 8 machine 2 more spots. He'll slide it back, and out he is on the outside. He'll lose the preferred lane, and Sean Ryan going to take a position away as well.
Yeah, the one driver that's lost out in the front here, Evan, was the number 1 car there of Brian Michael Loser. He got passed by the number 7 car, who is currently sitting in second. That's Brian Ammerman. He made that move. Wow, Trent Ringner and Michael Van Dosch also got through there. He's slipped back all the way to 5th.
And the number 1 machine has won a couple of races so far here at Texas already this week. Michael Van Esdal took another spot away from the number 4 machine in front of him. He's looking at the number 9 of Trent Ringler for that matter. But 1, 2, 3, 4 all up on each other. Small bobble center of the quarter off for Ringler. The 4 tried to peek to the inside, but it is lap 5 of 100. So he'll back it down a little bit. It lets the 1 get back up to his back bumper. For your leaders, well, they are single file. They don't have a lot of space. And Logan Clampett, he had company to the inside as Brian Arrowman took a peek. That didn't work at all, and they all check up at it too. Everybody lifts but the one of Loser.
Big move there by Loser as he comes through the pack again. Couldn't get back up to second place there, but behind the 7 of Ammerman there in second place. As yeah, big moment we saw there. Front now, Logan Clampett, he's done with the clean air here, Evan. Really helping those tyres.
It is, and out in front, obviously, if you want to start up front, that's the best thing to do, and get out in front, but Arrowman's not letting them get away. The number 2 machine, by far and large, in the clean air, is in the best running position to be in at the moment. But he's got Ammerman, Luza, and Van Esdal. They're all on top of him. That's the top 4 drivers within 4 tenths.
Yeah, it really is a tight packer cars here. Really, for the first top 10 is actually the number 1 car of Luza is going to look on the inside of Ammerman here. He might be making... He's going to make the pass, get himself back up into the second position, and now with his pace, he might be able to hunt down Logan Clampett here and get himself up to that number 1 spot. That's going to be interesting to watch here over the next several laps, but the single file racing up here with that pass now starting to go away.
Yeah, and it's a lot of guys now into the party. How about the top 8 drivers within 1 second of each other up top side in the running order? We're all waiting for who's going to make the first move. Look at number 5 to the inside of the racetrack. That's an aggressive entry, but Adam Burley, left side tires just about into the front straightaway grass. He'll get the spot, slot right up in line, take it away from Venisdal. The 4 peaks to the inside. No crossover going to happen that time by now. Justin Douglas going to put the number 13 Chevrolet to the inside. He as well try to march back up to the field, lost 2 spots on the start of the green, and he got the left side tires on the apron. Broke sideways, he hung on, Rachel. That's something you don't want to be in the habit of doing here.
Certainly don't, Evan. And well, that 5 car down Burley, he nearly had a problem there. He went in so deep into turn 1. Of course, you saw that car push up the racetrack in turn 2. Very nearly got passed back by the number 4 car, but well, he managed to hold it for now. Early on, no one's taking too many risks.
24 drivers took the green flag, and 24 drivers still run on the lead lap at the moment. Most drivers, actually P1 through P23, still within 7 seconds of each other. A rather good pace here throughout the field. Only driver struggling at the moment, Michael Wade, who started 13th position. He's 21 seconds back after he's had some problems navigating those first 3 laps of the race. He'll try to pick it up as the race goes on. Side by side inside the top 10. Big contact. The 4, the 3, the 13. They'll all spin down to the inside retaining wall. Caution flag will fly, and that one escalated very quickly in turn number 2. Caught it out of the corner of my eye. The number 13 of Douglas hard up the inside of Venisdal, and the car just would not rotate coming off of turn 2. He pushed all the way up to the fence, and the bad news for both of them was that Michael Venisdal was still out there, and they'll collect the innocent victim in the number 3 of JK's. A big accident with the first caution flag on the evening at lap number 11.
They also haven't got the number 15 car there. The driver of Ray Doran got a piece of number 13 as he came back up the racetrack. I think he might be okay. Bit of light damage, but that car seems to still be in running order. But a big incident there. Turn 2 here at Texas. It's a real problem zone. Got to make sure you get the exit right. Otherwise, well, you either push right into the wall, or you get loose and you spin off the corner. That had a bit of both.
So we slow him down for the first time tonight. This caution is going to help some of the guys deeper in the pack that I was talking about who didn't navigate the opening laps of this race quite all that well, but it as well has some effects on the strategy that we'll see tonight, because everybody's got a number that they want to get from the start of the race on fuel, and now that you have one pit stop in a mix, everybody going to be coming down this time, I would imagine, behind Logan Clampett, and it might be too early, I might guess, to see anybody up front try any sort of strategy.
Yeah, definitely. This stage of the race, it's, obviously just fill it to the brim, take 4 tires. No real reason to try 2 or something crazy here, or even staying out, I think, just because so much more in the race. If you do that, get unfortunate to stay green, well, you're basically guaranteed to go to the back of the pack.
Drivers in, left side's up, run the, looks like it'll be 4 tires, fuel and all for everybody up front of the field. Normally you might see somebody in the back try a 2-tire strategy, mix it up a little bit, not going to be the case. Everybody on the same consensus that 4 tires and fuel is the name of the game, especially early. No need to take any sort of adverse risk at that moment. And with that being said, nobody stays out either. So all lead lap cars coming in for service. Those guys towards the back that were involved in that accident, they're going to have to stay down on the pit lane for a little bit longer on the pit lane and try to get some service repaired and get those cars somewhat back into racing conditions. But with that being said, no change up at the front. It is going to be Logan Clampett. Brought us to the first green flag tonight. He'll bring us to the first restart on the evening as well. And it looks like he'll be joined by Luza Ammerman. Change for position for P4. Move Burley up a spot. Drop Trent Ringler down to P5. Other than that, the running order going to be basically identical.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be identical, but of course, lap 12. We are now in a position where reasonably you could make one more stop here on fuel if this goes green and get to the end of the race. It will be the stretch, but it's possible, of course. Expecting about 60 laps on fuel, but realistically about 40 on tyres. So if you stretch that to about 44 on each run, you could make it to the end here. Will anybody do that? I'm not sure. Will this be our last yellow, Evan? Well, we always say yellows breed yellows, and they certainly do.
Yeah, and especially late. We're still early. I don't know if we're going to get the next 86 laps in under green flag conditions. It could happen. but a lot happens with these cars from the start of a run to the end of the run, and you saw it just in the course of those 11 laps how much those cars were beginning to push coming up off the hill. Eventually led to the incident that triggered the first yellow flag on the evening. I think you're going to have to have elbows up a couple more times tonight, but nonetheless, going to be our first restart on the evening. The pace car going to make the slight left-hand dive down and out of the way. We'll see Clampett and lose once again, run 1 and 2. Let's see if the number 1 Chevrolet topside can get a better start than he did on the first green flag this evening. When he did so that time, he did end up dropping back to P4. He tries to guesstimate when the 2's going to go, jumped it a little bit early. He'll back it down the slightest bit. Across the start-finish line, re-green we are at the Texas Motor Speedway. This time, a side-by-side battle in action for third. Inside with the advantage, no question about it. Give it to Ammerman. And now the question is, how far back does Adam Burley slide topside?
Big run by Loser. He made a great prediction there when Clampett was going to go. Really good timing. 5 though held up on the outside. Adam Burley, he is topside there. He's riding above the 6 car. That is Brandon Bull, who just, well, has him blocked out. He has nowhere to go. He's going to have to either fall back or go around the outside. Looks like falling back is his real only option. Will the 11 car of Adam Scribner get him room? He does. That's, well, respectful this early on.
Yeah, we saw
those are two names that know each other also. So when you know somebody on the racetrack that you're driving with, you tend to cut them a little bit more of a break than you would otherwise.
Yeah, and that's twice now on these starts. We've seen someone up in the top 3 get shuffled down
at
the start of the
Highline, actually, guys. Sorry to interrupt you there, but one of the guys towards the back of your field went straight up the racetrack. That is, I believe, the 22 car, Sean M. Ryan, right up to the outside wall. Doesn't make contact, but very wide in turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, he's stuck up there also. He's not going to be able to find anybody that's just going to let him back down in line, so he has to kind of ride out that storm, find a spot back on the inside. Very much a single groove racetrack that we've seen so far tonight. Change for position for the number 9 spot. The 14 of Brandon Holder had it. You can give it to Ray Doran. The 14 was on the outside into turn 3, and he lost that battle, so the inside prevails once again. At Holder, all things considered, have a good night, but how about Ray Doran? Haven't talked much about the number 15 Chevrolet this evening. He's gone 19th to 9th. Even with that being said, not our biggest mover. That belongs to Brandon Bowie in P6. He's gained 15 positions.
He certainly has some big moves for him. All done on the racetrack, and that caution really helped him. That car looking fast tonight. Bowie there, and number 6 Toyota looking like it's in really good shape.
We'll see Lusa riding right now in second. He's got a handful, and actually the 7 machine of Ammerman got much more out of shape than he did that time at a 2. Back end, kick it out just a little bit too close for comfort if you ask me. Coming up to the turn 2 wall, but it is now a top 3 breakaway. Trent Ringler in the number 4 spot, trying to stay there. He's not quite lost touch at the moment. But Logan Clampett really just wants to get out and get away with it. He's led so far every single lap tonight, but he hasn't been able to pull a gap of more than 0.3 of a second. That 1, the 7, at least at the moment, keeping par with the number 2 machine riding in the draft. It could be a little bit of, if they're faster than him, just hanging out, trying to study what the 2's doing. No need to force the issue early. Sit back there and maybe don't show all your cards quite this early.
Yeah, certainly don't want to work these tires too hard. We've been talking about tire life since the drop of the green flag here. And Luza, I think, is doing a good job being able to hold Clampett and not really push him too hard. I actually think Luza's got something. He's not gonna show it till the end of the race.
And I talked about earlier how he's already found victory lane here at the Texas Motor Speedway this week in the NISB series, so he knows how to pace himself through the race, and so does Logan Clampett, so does some of these other bigger names that we talk about. It's not their first trip, especially in some of these larger official iRacing events, so they know that this race is not won at lap number 20 as we pass now 1/5 distance already. 21 drivers still sit on the lead lap. Mentioned problems earlier for Jake Hayes, who is 2 laps down now out of the race. Michael Van Isdal is 8 laps down, still on pit road getting service, and I believe Justin Douglas is done for the night in P24. Those were the 3 drivers that got the most of the accident in turn number 2, but we are now quite spread out, in fact, everywhere. I think the closest battle might even be between those guys inside of the top 3.
Yeah, certainly is.
And if you look at the times these guys have been running, of course, during the race, after that restart, they only went as fast as 29.02. 29.03 is about 0.5 really off what we saw for the pole time. by clamp it immediately. These guys are not pushing as hard as the cars will go. They have to run a little bit slower, making sure these tyres last, taking a smoother line to the corner. Very important to do that.
Yeah, that's right, Rachel. And really, this is getting to feel like it's going to be a long green flag run here. As actually we got the third place car on the wall. I think he tagged the wall on exit there coming off of 2. So as I say that we might stay green here, Evan, people are starting to make mistakes.
Yeah, the tires start to go away. You start to struggle a little bit, and the caution flag will fly. Problems down the back straightaway. Chad Harner, it appears, the number 8 Chevrolet. He's facing the wrong direction in turn number 2, and surprise, surprise, that's the same spot that we found our earlier problems in, and it was almost an identical incident. The number 8 of Harner involved in this one. The number 18 of Nick Nebbit on the outside of the racetrack, really minding his own business. And the 8 pushed up a little bit. The 18 got sideways, and that's 2 cars headed right for the same pace of real estate. And the number 8's the one that ends up in the inside fence. And with that, second caution flag will wave on the evening. It'll bridge us past quarter distance here at Texas.
Yeah, it certainly does. That turn 2 is treacherous, Evan. We talked about it before. Either you get really loose, which is normally happening later in the run, or well, coming off that 2 wide is always tricky. That car needs to track up as high as it can. The camber off the corner really throws you up towards the wall there, so you've got to really make sure you have got the room. You can hold it low, but you can't keep your foot in like these guys have been doing. They're going to head back down pit road now. We've got about 13 laps on the tyres from the last caution. Oh, everyone's in now. This is definitely within the one-stop window if we stay green, but Randy, staying green doesn't look like it's on the cards.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look like it. Even there, when things were starting to look like they were stretched out, we obviously got this yellow flags. Now everyone comes down pit road. Going to be interesting to see if we get any shakers and movers up here in our top 10, but I think for the most part we won't see anything too crazy happen here.
Your leader's down for service. Logan Clampett as well. Going to bring us down, and he'll go all the way to the number 1 pit stall. Right side tires completed. Left side tires completed as well. 4 tires in fuel. Small challenge from behind. Not enough, though. It'll beat the number 2 machine, who leads coming off of the pit lane. So 2 cautions in the opening quarter distance of this one. I don't think necessarily by the math that we're going to see 8 caution flags through the course of the race, but both of those opening stints were about, if we find the median, I guess, we'll say they were both 12 laps, one 11 and one at 13. But both of them problems in turn 2. Both of them cars on the inside pushing up. And this time, even we saw the 18 on the outside getting sideways. So it's no surprise that right after about 10 laps, Rachel, we've really started to see those tires go away. And you could see it there because not only, tires a factor in that accident, but we saw everybody sliding all over the place, including the guys up front running the best laps and leading the race. Luza and Ammerman trying to keep up with Logan Clampett. They were getting a little bit sideways as well coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, certainly were. These cars looking very sideways here, of course, Evan. The weather's not too bad. We're looking at about 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 111 degrees track temperature. Winds are northerly at 5 degrees. They're moving a little bit at the moment, swinging to the northwest, so it's not bad weather here. In fact, it's on the warmer side, I'd say. So, not as much grip as these guys would like. Of course, the clear sky is really not helping that. It's very... the track heats up very quickly, so you'll see these cars get very squirrely as the race goes on, but... It's low line. The problem here at Texas is there is really only one fast groove, and you'll see this groove getting very hot very soon. These cautions helping a little bit, but not a lot. That groove will really heat up, really rubber in, and you'll start to see drivers getting a bit slick coming off the corners. That's when we'll get the excitement.
Yeah, and really with that hot weather, that's going to make it difficult to keep these tires alive too. Even in cold weather, these tires are difficult to keep prime and with good grip and not fall off over the course of the run. With this hot weather, going to be almost impossible.
We wait a restart with Clampett in front, loses second. Adam Burley, though, the biggest mover in all of this, the number 5, picked up 4 spots inside of the top 10, started in the number 7 position. He'll be to the inside of row number 2, and many of the time we'll consider that could be a better spot than starting on the outside of the front row to get to the inside down to turn number 1. But so far, the 2 and the 1, they've got each other figured out. It's been Clampett out in front. Lewis has been doing a good job of chasing, though. The 1 machine, I think, should be able to slot into P2 here this third time. We'll take a green flag here this evening. Second off of a caution flag, and Burley just want to hold the inside and give him an upper hand over Trent Ringler. P4 has not been a fun place to restart in this evening. Curious how that number 9 Chevrolet will navigate it there up on the outside.
But it will be interesting to see what happens with those guys and get in position here. So make sure these guys get all sorted out for the restart here, Evan. And it's going to be furious racing. This is only going to get more exciting as we wind down these laps.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Evan kind of touched on it. This outside line has not been good on these restarts. At the start of the race, we saw Luza obviously get shuffled down to 4th or 5th, and on that last restart, I can't remember who it was, they got stuck on the outside, got freight trained for several positions as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if everyone on this outside line is able to hold on for this going into turn 1 and 2.
The American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car going to head down pit lane way. The number 2 of Logan Clampett. Again, going to be in control of the field here at the Texas Motor Speedway. 28 laps down, still 72 to go. Green flag flies back it away. And again, a great jump for the drivers on the front row. Clampett to first, loses slots into P2. Burley going to maintain P3, but a good jump for Trent Ringler, and he found a spot inside. The number 9 going to avoid getting stuck up on the outside of the racetrack. He'll run P4 at a turn number 2, and now you have to wonder how the number 6 is going to do. That's Brandon Bowie. He goes side by side with Ammerman into turn number 3 for P5. He'll concede that position, slot in behind your top 10 single file, and 3 wide problems off of 4. The 15, Ray Doran lost a lot of speed in the center of the corner after he got down on the apron. They scatter topside, and I think everybody was able to somehow get around. That stings, though, for a driver that worked so hard to pick up over 10 positions. Now he's almost way back where he started, outside the top 15.
Yeah, he's down to P14, Evan. He's right out of the order there. Grab that apron in turn 4. You want to get right down against the apron, but not on it. You just got a wheel on there, and that's upset the car. You did good to hold on to that one, so give him props for that. It was quite the save.
Yeah, I'm talking about doing a lot of hard work. Brandon Bowie up to P6. He's holding station with these guys up here in the top 5. It means he can see if he can get himself up there, but he's moved himself through this field quickly. Looking back out front, we've got a bit of, well, it's basically a 6-car breakaway right now, as everyone within the top 6, basically within a tenth of a second of one another.
At a side-by-side battle just behind him, sees the number 10 of Edward Birch Jr. going backwards. The 16 of Ryan Neffenegger got a spot. Sean Ryan in the number 2 Chevrolet will take a spot away as well. Both those passes completed on the inside of the racetrack. So kick the number 10 machine now back to P14. He's -5 from the start of the race. There's a couple more skirmishes going on at about that P10, P15 window, but your top 6 are most sure the guys that are trying to pull away. It's Clampett, Luza, Burley, Ringler, Amminger, and Bowie. Or need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and they're all within half a second of each other, basically at the front of the field. Everybody waits to see who's going to make the first move amongst them.
Yeah, they're certainly going to do it. It's going to be exciting to see what happens with these guys, and you can really get that move done. Of course, we expect a little bit of patience for the next handful of laps here, Evan. Make sure these guys just keep an eye on things. This race spread out a little bit as 17 though John Miko will make a move up the inside of the 11 of Scribner. That's Chevrolet making a good move there to the inside of 4. Typical passing position here off turn 4, Evan.
Yeah, we'll see how they negotiate that. This time, the 16, the one going backwards. So it was Neffenegger who just made a pass for position a couple of laps ago on the number 10. And just after that, the number 10 machine makes the pass back, both on the 16 and on the number 22 machine. So he's going to come up the inside of the racetrack and put those spots right back to these guys. Not yet determined what they want to do here back in the back. About 3.1 seconds, 3.2 seconds, the gap that they were off of the race leaders. Lost a couple more tenths as they went side by side that last time around. But that battle is going on well behind your race leaders, which makes it a problem for guys who start deep in the pack to try to get up to the field. If we see a race that goes green all the way, as you can make passes, but once you find yourself 3 seconds or so back, you're going to lose a lot of ton over the course of a long green flag run. However, the 2 caution flags we've seen so far have allowed guys to pick up spots, get tires, and do it again. And now how about Jeffrey Parker, the number 12 machine? He'll go into the number 9 position. He started in 22nd, another one of the bigger movers so far here tonight.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Parker, the car that started beside him, Brandon Bowie, that last lap, able to get himself up into that top 5. So there's 2 cars that started on the 11th row, moved themselves up into the strong positions here into the top 10, Evan.
Yeah, he's picked up a good spot, but as well, Brandon Bowie still the biggest mover amongst them, P21 to P5, but in fact, he might be under threat by the number 9 machine. He went to the inside. Ringler not going to give it up easily. Down the back straightaway they go, and you can see once they go side by side how quickly they fall back from those top 3 that stayed in line up at the front of the field. With that being said, you can give him another spot to move Brandon Bowie up now at 17 positions from the start of the race, and in fact, he was P4 in the warm-up session prior to qualifying tonight. He's up to P4 at the moment, and that'll slot Ringler, who started in 4th, now back to the number 5 spot, and we'll see if Bowie can continue to march forward, get a few more.
Certainly will, and looking towards the front there, Clampet's really not managed to get away here as Loser and Burley are all over him at the moment. We could be seeing a pass for your race lead any second now. The Clampet are holding it really tight. Those two drivers nose to tail. It's like watching a train at Daytona there, Evan. Really, really tight racing as they spread out middle of the corner. Close right up again off that corner as we see them getting good run down the back straight here. Who will make the first move? The 1 looks inside, the 5 looks inside as well. Lost a bit of momentum there, checking up into 3. No one was sure who was going to pass who, but Clampet stays in front, might be numbered.
It's not that bad right now with about a car length and change in between them, but the last time they come out of turn 4, they were so close up on each other that if we saw anything like we saw earlier in turn 2 with somebody pushing up the racetrack, if Logan Clampett had to get out of the throttle, especially Ryan Luza, I think, in a bad position, the number 1 Chevrolet smack dab in the middle of those cars, and that car's got to be really tight coming off of turn number 2 and turn 4. If he had to bring it out of the gas at all, he would have had Burley right into his back end. Some problems deep in the pack for the number 20. That's Paul Bliss. He's met the outside fence, and it's Calamity Corner that just about does him in. As turn number 2, to rough up the right side of his Chevrolet, and we'll get things back going slowly. Going to get back up to speed. That incident costs him about 6 positions.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that damage affects that car, too. If he got him out outside wall hard, and you said it, having Calamity Corner, all of our incidents so far has happened off of turn 2. Only thing we've really seen going through turn 3 and 4 is people just barely catching that apron and getting loose. But we've not seen anyone rack up any damage or really get any, have any issues going through that corner besides that.
Yeah, and the difference is when you're coming off of turn number 4, you're headed into the quad oval there, so it's a much wider exit to the turn. When you're coming out of turn 2, it tightens up really quick there before you hit the back straightaway, and that's why at racetracks like this, turn 2 sometimes going to cause more problems for these guys. But it's not only that they're tight, but if they're not tight, it's loose, especially right about at this point in the run. We've got more than 10 laps in on this green flag stretch. The tire's going to begin to erode away, if you will. You got to hang on down in turn 2. You got to be patient, especially if you're trying to chase somebody down. You might want to give it a little bit more throttle. Just remember, that's not the best idea. Good battle going on just at the tip of the top 10. Now slotted back a little bit. The number 10, the 10 machine of Edward Birch on the inside of the racetrack. He'll pick up a spot on one more car that he'll pass on the inside of the racetrack in turn 3. That's the number 12, Jeffrey Parker. So just talked about how the 12 had made a move inside the top 10. He'll fall 2 positions because Alex Scribner took a spot away from him that lap as well. So move the 12 now down to 11th.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention about that outside wall there over in turn 2 is, well, as the bottom lane heats up here, we've been running in the early part of the race, less grip, so you want to run a little bit higher. Problem is here at Texas, coming off turn 2, there is a bump just about the middle of the corner, about a lane up from the bottom, which is right where these guys want to run. You catch that bump, the car will unsettle and it will run wide. You got to expect that bump, you got to cut below it, because if you touch that, you are going to run wide, you are going to push up towards that wall, and well, Calamity Corner will claim another victim.
And so far, it has been where everything's been going on tonight, absolutely. A good battle now with that number 11 machine of Alex Scribner. Surprisingly quiet, I'd say, so far tonight for the driver of the number 11 machine. Well, he's on the back of the 17 of John Micah. Micah, another of the guys flying under our radar so far tonight, got 18th to P8, so he's up 10 spots from the start of the race. And the number 11 of Scribner, he'll take a peek to the inside and down to turn number 1, and here we go, and he'll get the spot. So give Alex Scribner P8. John Micah will now slide it back into the number 9 spot. That change for position happened in turn number 1. Seems to be a popular passing zone.
Yeah, I think with the way the turn 2 tightens up, we were talking about it with it being Calamity Corner. people know if they get on the outside that if they push too hard fighting for this spot, they could just end up in the wall and lose themselves much more than one position. Look back out front though, Logan Clampett and Ryan Luza have managed to stretch themselves a 1 second gap to Adam Burley, who he himself has about a 1 second gap going to Brandon Bowie. So we have a bit of a 2-car breakaway here as we get deep into this run. Adam's car may just not be running very well on these deep runs, Evans.
And 3 wide down the back straightaway, at least they're thinking about it, but the 17 will back out of it. Jadamaica had an opportunity if he really wanted to force the 3 wide, put that 14 machine holder in the middle as the 11 Scribner takes the spot on the outside. I think the more intelligent move there was to back it off and wait. He'll do so, and he'll still get the inside spot on the number 14 machine. So that's battle back for the number 9 position. Battle up front, though, come and gone, short-lived. How about the number 1 of Ryan Luza? Stayed on the 2 of Clampett, forced his way to the inside on lap number 47, and he'll take the race lead this time by 2 laps shy of the halfway point from the Texas Motor Speedway, and it's a first race change on the evening.
Then he is that car of Ryan Michael Lewis has been looking fast all night, Evan. That thing's been moving. Both Clampett had the qualifying speed to put that car up front, but well, the number 1 car is certainly proving why he's wearing that number 1. He's got a really quick race car. But yeah, the guys so far further back, they're being a little cautious still. We're only on lap 48, 49 now, so only halfway to the end. Going to be on the last lap to win the race, so no point taking it too exciting too early.
And now we'll see what can that 2 machine do behind Ryan Luza, because the one, as I mentioned, I don't think Logan Clampett got a gap tonight at all of 0.3 of a second or more, because that one was just trailing him and following him and tracing that line for the entire event. Now that Luza's in front, Clampett trying to hang on, sitting about 4 or 5 car lengths off of the back of the one at the moment. What can that number 2 machine do, or is Luza that much quicker? Because if he is, and he was waiting just for the right opportunity to get around Clampett, that one machine should be able to check out. But Ryan Luza, your leader at the halfway point, which means we start counting down as opposed to counting up. Let's take a look at our iRacing.com Midway Race Leaderboard, presented by iRacing, the leader in motorsport simulations and the official sim racing partner of NASCAR. It is Ryan Luza, started P2. He is now out in the number 1 position. Logan Clampett riding right now in P2. Adam Burley 3rd. Trent Ringler in 4th. And Brandon Bowie from 21st rounds out your top 5. Brian Ehrman is in P6. Alex Scribner 7th. 8th, Jadamaica. Edward Birch Jr. in a good battle with P9. Rounding out your top 10 is Brian Holder.
Yeah, currently running in P11 at the moment is Ryan Nerfenegger. Then P12, it's Ray Doran. John M. Ryan behind them in P13. Bishop at 14. Jeffrey Parker. Brian Tate. Michael D. Wade. Brandon H. Thomas and Paul Bliss. Ad Harner and Nick Neben round out your top 20. Only other car running on the lead lap at the moment is Landon S. Correa. As the 24 car, him, is on pit road right now, and I believe he's got some damage. He might have hit the wall.
And it looks like his night is going to be done. So they'll push that 24 behind the wall. He'll join JK's in 22nd, Michael Van Estell 23rd, and Justin Douglas in 24th, as the drivers are going to have a premature end to tonight's 100-lap affair at the Texas Motor Speedway. This has been your iRacing.com Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of racing possibilities on the web, you can visit iRacing.com and sign up today. The gap continues to stretch in the last 5 laps by 0.3 of a second. Randy gets Luza now well in control of this field. It looks like he's about 0.7 now in front of Clampett. Clampett really not in a risk at the moment. He's almost in no man's land, because if Luza continues to pull away, he's got a comfortable gap of 2 seconds and change back to Adam Burley in 3rd, but we all know that he wants to get back up front.
Yeah, we've been talking about tires all night on these old tires. I mean, Luza's stretching the gap by about half a tenth or so per lap over Clampett. However, these guys both are about half a second or more quicker than the entire rest of the field. So if it stays green, it's easily going to go to these guys. But as this race goes on, it's starting to become the race to who's going to go down pit road first. And with the undercut here, I think if you're Adam Burley or Logan Clampett, I think you have to pit before Ryan Luza to get yourself the advantage.
The short pitch strategy, always one favorite, and I think you're almost at a perfect spot to make that strategy call. We talked about where we're going to be sitting on fuel when we got back underway. However, before we look at a pit stop, so some guys, they still want to pick up a few spots on the tires that they got, and a great battle going on for P7 on back. John Micah trying to stay in front of them all, and he's got quite the show going on in his rear view mirror. Alex Scribner on the back deck, like the 10 of Edward Birch Jr. He's right there, and you can even throw the number 16 of Ryan Effenegger into the picture as well. 4 drivers within 0.4 of a second of each other down in turn number 3 for positions 7 through 10. Single file still, but they're starting to get a little bit aggressive. Scribner will slide into turn number 4. He got those left side tires a little bit too low.
They did the 10 car there, Edward Birch Jr. getting on the underside there at the 11 of Scribner as he made that little bit of a mistake. The 16 car going to follow through at the back as well, but he will not get the chance. The 11 car pulls back down again, trying to defend his position. He does just that. These guys getting a good run here, Evan. At 57, we're looking at 43 left to go at the moment, so it is time to start racing, but we are looking for a pit stop sometime soon. The 16 car, Effenegger, very squirrely there. He's dropped back from this trio, but looking at pitting in the next, I'd say, 10 laps.
And pit stop at that point, would it be good enough to get these guys to the end, assuming that we stay under green flag conditions? But that short pit point that you made, Randy, was that, you're looking at the lap times, where we are now as opposed to where we were maybe at the start of a run. Best lap for your race leader, Ryan Lewis, so far tonight on fresh tires was a 29.2. He just ran a 31.4 that last time by. You're looking at a fall off of about 2 seconds per lap from fresh tires to old. So a Logan Clampett, who is 0.6 of a second back, is tailor-made to try to figure out, maybe if he doesn't get tipped off at when the one machine's going to be coming down to the pit lane, he's got to figure out when it would make most sense for your leader to come down and short pit it. It might not be the ideal number, but he'll still be able to make it to the end. He needs to come down first and see if he can make up any of that time that's available. And if Clampett or Burley, even Ringler, some other guys inside the top 5 come down pit road, I think Ryan Lewis almost has to respond immediately because he can't afford to stay out there for an extra 3-5 laps until he wants to get to his number, because at that point you would have been giving up way too much time.
That's exactly right, Evan. Really, whoever comes down pit road first, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Loser or Clampett. It could be any of these guys that are running up in the top 10. If any of them come down pit road, it will cause almost everyone else to follow within the next 1 to 2 laps. Because simply put, even if you're looking like someone like Brian Ammerman, who's currently running 8 seconds off of Ryan Luza, if he pits, with that 2 second per lap advantage the tires give you within 4 or 5 laps, suddenly he's even with Ryan Luza on the racetrack. And speaking of, I believe we might have a car in the pit lane, Evan.
We know pit stops aren't that far away. At least coming in this time is Nick Neben from the number 19 position. Couple of other guys down, though. Michael Van Asdal is in. Brandon Bowie, as well, is down on the pit lane. So we wait for some of your top runners to come down, get that service completed, and try to pull the strategy call. But so far, Luza, Clampett, Burley, your top 3. Nobody yet showing that they want to be down pit side. The next time around, going to be 38 laps to go at the Texas Motor Speedway. So well within that window to make it to the end. The longest green flag stretch on the evening continues. And now basically every time at a turn number 4, we sit and we wait for somebody to make the call. No takers for 1 and 2. Here comes Adam Burley from 4.7 seconds back. The number 3 placed runner is in.
Yeah, heading down pit road now, beginning a full tank of Sunoco race fuel and 4 fresh Goodyear Eagle tires on that number 5 machine. He'll be back out and running pretty soon.
Caution! Oh no!
Caution's out. He'll have to drive through. We have a crash on the front straight, but will the 5 pit? He's pitting. I think I'd have driven through there.
He'll try to get his service done. He needs to get out before Luza comes around. Luza's in turn number 4, so it might just work for him, depending on where the pace car ends up. If it does, it could be a race-winning stroke of luck, and if it's not, it could be something that puts Burley deep in the pack. But the caution happens with Edward Birch Jr., the number 10 Chevrolet. Just a self-spin coming across the tri-oval. In fact, an interesting spot for that car to go around. We talked about the dog leg here at this track. There's 2 distinct kinks in the front stretch, and I don't know, it almost looked like he lost a tire there because I went on board with him. He had that wheel turned to the right the entire time down the front straightaway. That car just would not rotate at all, and he'll spit it up into the outside wall. So Luza going to be the first driver behind the pace car, but it may have just been a stroke of genius for Adam Burley to possibly try to steal this one. We'll be within inside of the final 35 laps from the Texas Motor Speedway, so we'll take this opportunity to step away and come back in just a moment. You're watching iRacing NASCAR Race Night on RaceSpot TV from the Texas Motor Speedway. And back live at the Texas Motor Speedway, working under a late race caution flag with 66 laps into the books and working on the longest green flag stretch we had seen all night in NASCAR Race Night. Well, we're back under the yellow, and this changes everything going forward. Going to be a restart inside of the final 35 laps in this NASCAR iRacing Class B event at the Texas Motor Speedway. We're happy you're joining us on RaceSpot TV. Evan Pasoko, Rachel Whiteford, Randy Chad at the top side with you. And Rachel, we throw a curveball into the big shed again. Ryan Luza going to be the big winner in this one. On the pit lane at the moment of caution did not turn out to be a stroke of luck for Adam Burley. He'll end up in 12th position, and now we'll get to see Luza fight it out up front with the banana. Trent Ringler now P2. Logan Clampett still there in third, and at a race highest is Alex Scribner P4. So we're setting up to see an exciting finish.
Yeah, we certainly are, Evan. But of course, the 5, well, I think it worked out better than you could have expected. When that caution flew on pit road, what I would have done is gone straight through my pit box, driven out again, and just carried on. Pitted under yellow, because he wouldn't lose a lap. He literally was millimeters from losing a lap. The pace car came past just as he left pit road. But we're about to go green, Evan. Take it away.
Pace car going to go down. Is this going to be for the final time tonight? And we'll still have 33 laps of competition left at the Great American Speedway. The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down to the wayside. First time tonight, it's Ryan Luza going to bring us back to the restart box. Green flag sails back and away we go, and a great start for Logan Clampett. Just like that, put the number 2 Chevrolet back in the second.
Yeah, he certainly is. That was a fantastic start for him. We've seen him and Luza really been the fastest group of the fastest 2 cars in this entire group here all night long. And for him to be able to get past that that outside starter of Trent Ringler on this restart, get himself up into position 2, that's going to enable him to save his tires and be able to just hang with Luza. Although the thing with Luza is obviously at the end of the last run, Luza was the best on old tires, Evan, so it's going to be interesting to see if Logan can save those and keep himself to the back of Luza when we get to the end of this thing.
Yeah, the two, he just has to keep the number 1 in sight, but it looks like Luza, he's loving the clean air up front. He'll stretch the gap by about a car length that time at 1 and 2. And Logan Clamp and Rachel can't even focus on Luza in P1. He's got to deal with the number 9 machine out the back end. Trent Ringler all over him in turn number 3 that time. Clampett going to get a good run at a turn 4, stretch that distance just a little bit, but he has to make sure that he doesn't neglect to look on those cars running behind him and focus entirely on Luza, who's trying to set sail.
He certainly is, but we do know Clampett has really good short run pace, Evan. He can make sure he catches up to Luza, gets ahead of him, and takes advantage, but, well, if he saves a bit of tyres, he might have a chance later on. He knows that Luza's great late in the run, so he needs to do something soon. Take advantage. 9's coming, the 11's coming, and says 15.
And now the battle between P2, 3, and 4 looks like the battle that we saw for the race lead when it was Logan Clampett in front for the earlier parts of this race. But Ryan Luza, class of the field right now, inside of now 30 laps to go at the Texas Motor Speedway. And he continues to knock him down by basically 1/10 of a second per lap. Almost the biggest gap we've seen for the race lead since Luza pulled out to almost a second before the yellow flag. That one Chevrolet is bad fast, and I don't know if Logan Clampett can do anything about it right now.
Yeah, at this point, Evan, Logan really can't afford to save tires. Luza's got himself too big of a gap right now for that to be, you know, a good idea whatsoever. He needs to push hard and use that short run pace. If he had managed to stay on the back bumper of that one car, as actually the Trent Ringler's going to look to the inside of Logan Clampett going into 3. He's going to be on the inside, and we've seen that outside not work all night. Logan Clampett probably going to get shuffled down to P3 here, although he's going to make it work. He's going to be the first one we've seen all night really fight off of turn 4, Evan.
He does not want to go down without a fight. The problem for him is if that 9 machine keeps wanting to dance for P2, every time he holds him off, even if he can maintain the position, you're losing time to the number 1 in front of the field. And for a late race restart, impressively enough, we got rather spread out throughout the field, Rachel, amongst the 17 drivers that still sit on the lead lap. Everybody minds their P's and Q's for the moment.
Yeah, they are for now, but how long will they mind those? Because we are now inside 30 to go. 26 laps remaining in the books here at Texas Motor Speedway. You see, everything's bigger in Texas. So is the racing, so are the wrecks. These guys are going to be all over each other pretty soon, so we've got to keep an eye on who is where and what they're doing. Otherwise, things could get hairy quickly.
Yeah, Luza, and you don't think he's going to have to deal with any lap traffic, really. You look out in front of him, and you're not going to catch anybody till you get to Birch, who has got some damage. He's running off pace, but even if you go green flag all the way, Luza really, it's in his possession now. He's out in front. He doesn't even have to force the issue at the moment. Keep it on the gap back to Logan Clamp, but it's kind of steadied out at about 0.4 of a second. If the 2 starts the push, you might have to get going, but let Logan Clamp tear up the tires trying to get to you. Don't tear up your tires trying to get away from him.
That's absolutely right, Evan, and I think another car we need to watch here is Brandon Bowie. Obviously, in the later stages of that run, he was working himself up to the top 5. Currently running P7. He didn't, kind of got shuffled back a little bit with the way that yellow came out. He pit about a lap or 2 before. Didn't really benefit him that much. But like you said, or like Rachel said, everything's bigger in Texas. The only thing that might be bigger is the gap that Ryan Luza currently has.
Yeah, definitely running at the best pace we've seen tonight. He got awfully close, though, to turn 2. Again, doesn't matter how many laps you have under your belt here on the sim. If you're out front, you got somebody chasing you down in the closing laps, you could feel that pressure. 24 laps remain here at the Texas Motor Speedway. The gap now begins to shrink. Logan Clampett picked off 1/10 of a second the last time by. It's just interesting because what we've seen so far is that Luza better on the long run. He satted, he waited, and then when Clampett started to run out of steam at the end of the run, he made the move, he set sail. He looked fast on the short run, but we know the one to be better on the longer end of things so far tonight. Picked it up a little bit that last time by because you can see that gap beginning to shrink, but Logan Clampett might not be out of this one just quite yet.
Yeah, certainly not. Clampett looking like he's got a good car right now. Not sure, as we said, later on in the run. We've still got like 22 laps here, Evan, so Not a lot of time, but again, it could be long enough that it might let his tyres go off. Loser, he has the clean air advantage, so big gap formed already. 4 tenths per second between himself and Logan Clampett, but look a bit further back there. So exciting racing with the 9 and the 17 and the 11 back there. As the 11 looks to try and make a move on the 15 car of Ray Doran, who's just passed him. So if the 11 can get back up into your top 5.
Doran picks up the 14th position on the evening. He's gone now 19th to P5 in front of him. An equal amount of pickup for John Micah, who's gone 18th to 4th, but Alex Scribner losing a spot that time. First time we've really seen that number 11 machine be going the opposite direction all night. He went P8 to P5, now back down to the number 6 position. And a good battle there, and he looked to the inside on Doran, tried to cross him over, tried to make him fight for it. He has to watch out the back end. Here comes the 5 of Adam Burley. Top 5 race car before the yellow flag. Got relegated a little bit deeper in traffic after he was caught on the pit lane at a bad time. He's up at a back bumper to Scribner. He wants to fight for P6.
Adam Burley's done a great job on this green flag run to work through this field. Like you said, started himself back towards, in the back of the pack on that last restart. Got himself up fighting for P6, probably P5 as well. Actually, Brandon Bowie's going to look to the inside going into turn number 1. Going to be interesting to see if he's able to hold this. Either two people who have been able to move their way up through the field and have pace all night, Evan.
Side by side at turn number 2. Bowie on the inside. Burley on the outside. Slow off the corner. John Micah, the number 17 Chevrolet. He met the turn 2 wall for the upteenth time tonight. We continue to see problems in that corner. He loses so much speed. He'll lose 1, 2, 3, now 4 spots. Doran, Scribner, the number 5 of Burley, and the 6 of Brandon Bowie going to come up his inside. Just like that, John Micah back down to 8th.
Yeah, he got very loose there, Evan, that 17 car. He was also
contact 5 hard into the outside wall. Adam Burley, he is slow off of the corner. He'll hang on. It looks like Brian Ammerman involved as well. Somehow, no caution. We stay green.
Yo, Devin, that was close. Big contact there off the corner. We could almost see it coming, but the car stays straight. They're staying on the racetrack, so we will not go to caution here. We'll stay under green flag conditions, but the 5 just came down. He just clipped the back end of the 11, or the 11 came up on the bump. You saw the 11 jump up the track. That's the turn 2 bump. You don't want to be that close to anybody off that corner. That's what happens.
Yeah, and the 11 was kicking himself. He said over the radio, I just caught that apron and in a terrible spot to do so. And that 5, it was a hard lick to the outside wall for Adam Burley. I believe he's come down pit side now, and he is for service. The 11 of Alex Scribner. He'll stay out on the racetrack, but he does lose a couple of spots, and he does have a little bit of damage now, obviously, on the right side of that car. Could have been a lot worse for him. It was almost a Texas-sized accident that time at a turn 2, but again, somehow, a couple of cars get beat up, but we stay under green flag conditions. And now we look at Ray Doran. He was just moving forward, but Brandon Bowie, the man on the move, he'll take P4 away from the 15 Chevy. A good move by Bowie here, ladies. Picked up 2 spots in the last 2 laps.
You're absolutely right, Evan. Absolutely great move by Brandon. And as far as that incident, that's the drawback of some of this close racing. One little small mistake like that, suddenly you have 3-4 cars with damage, possibly even out of the race. And, incredibly unfortunate for them. Back up front, though, Ryan Luza, he's got himself a 1-second gap. So in terms of Loken maybe having the pace early on, I think in the early stage of this race, we saw Luza just hanging back and just conserving.
15 drivers now sit on the lead lap. Going to be 15 laps to go. That time by, and Luza in all of that and through all the excitement. We were talking about how Logan Clampett was reeling him back in. He's picked up 8 tenths. The gap now a second flat between him and P2 Clampett, and the 2 doesn't have much pressure from behind. He's a second clear also from Trent Ringler, who's 2 seconds back. So your top 3 very spread out.
Yeah, they are at the moment, and that's not going to help anybody trying to make gains in this race late on. Had a second between each of them, so really no room to gain each other. They're outside draft range, which means, yeah, not going to catch each other at all here. Brandon Bowie, though, he's still being chased by the number 15 car, who did, well, he just got past him, of course, but he has every chance of catching him up again, so we'll see how the tyres go in the last 13 laps here as everyone gets past the 5 car there, who's now a lap down, of course. Adam Burley, who was running so well early on, now 3 laps down after that trip to pit road. Going to be absolutely gutted there of him.
Yeah, we talked about the strategy, and we said pit early. Like take the short pit; it'll work for you. He went from P3 to getting stuck in a pit lane, dropping back in the pack, started to move forward in the pack, and got cross-checked into the outside wall. So not a good night for Adam Burley, who started P7. He's 3 laps down in 17th, and he looks to just try to be able to maintain that running position through the completion of this event. And then again, everybody completely spread out inside of the top 10. Good battle, a little bit deeper though. The number 8 of Chad Harner, the 7 of Brian Ammerman. They do battle down in turn number 3 for the number 10 spot. The 7 looked to the bottom, but he actually backed off it down the back straightaway. Not happy with the handling on that car. They both get a little bit out of shape at a 4.
Yeah, some great racing going up and down through this field. We've been talking about people being able to work their way through. Of the cars that currently run in the top 10, only 4 of them started there. A couple of them actually started outside of the top 20. So really, it's great to see people be able to move their way up through this pack as things get stretched out here. We've come to the just about 10 to go here at Texas.
It'll be 10 laps to go the next time by. If we get inside of the final 5 laps to go at Texas, a caution flag at that point would end this race. So that's the magic number for the number 1 to lose it, but he got so close to the fence that time. There's the caution at 10 laps to go. This thing is not done yet. Problems down in turn number 1, and it is Adam Burley. When it rains, it pours. Just talking about how he was trying to salvage for a 17th position finish. He got a little bit of help, and this is one of the problems you get when you have such a speed differential and such a high closing rate. The number 5, slow. The number 11, Machine, one of the faster drivers in P8, Alex Scribner, trying to get by, and they got into each other. Scribner bounced off the fence, came back down, and took him out. And that means Logan Clampett's going to get at least one more shot at this one.
Certainly is, and we know Clampett's got the speed on the fresh tyres, so we'll have to see what happens when these guys come down pit road, because they will. After that many laps, they're all going to come down for 4 fresh Goodyear tyres. Probably no fuel, but they definitely want tyres. Now that incident though, Evan, that was a tough one. I actually think the 11 was swooping down into the 5 there and tapped him, of course. 11 had, well, 5 had to track out, of course, after the second kink on the front stretch. So, tough one there, but, well, 4 fresh tyres here. We're going to have a wild ride to the end.
And with that car being that much off pace, a lot was happening there in a short amount of time, but it doesn't change the fact that Ryan Lewis, the magic number, no longer lap number 95. He's got to deal with at least one more restart. Down to the pit lane we come, Randy. I don't know if anybody's really willing to gamble and try 2 tires or something.
Yeah, that would be a huge strategy, a huge benefit if we were going to, maybe get another late race caution to end the race. But I actually think if you're going to make that gamble, you'd almost be better just staying on the old tires and not coming out at all. That way you get as much track position as possible. Everyone needs to hit their marks here, and Logan Clampett coming to this restart. If he doesn't get the lead here from losing in the pit stops, which he won't, Luther's going to come back out with the lead. He needs to nail this restart like he's never nailed a restart before, and he needs to hold that thing almost as close to wide open as he can going through 1 and 2, and we get a huge run on the outside down the back stretch.
We wait to see what happens. We do know that Logan Clampett is going to be on the outside of row number 1. Trent Ringler in the number 5 should maintain P3. It'll be Ray Doran, though, taking over P4. Brandon Bowie going to find himself to the inside, therefore, of row number 3 in position number 5. Lusa was good on that restart. I think the only pass for the race lead under green flag conditions that we've seen tonight was when we saw Ryan Lusa take it away from Logan Clampett, and that was after about 30 laps. It looks like up at the front of the field, the 4 tires and the clean air may be just too much for somebody to overcome. I think if you're a Clampett or Ringler and you want to get the job done, you better be hustling at a turn number 2, getting up to speed, because I don't see Lusa giving you an opportunity from that point on. We take a look at some of the guys in front of the field, though. We have Edward Birch Jr. looking for a wave by. However, the number 10 of John Micah came down to the pit lane along with all of your leaders. He overshot the stall entry, which I'm not sure if caused him to call an audible or if he wanted to go for this call anyhow. But he takes 2 tires, so at least one person did it. And John Micah, if he continues to stay out, will be in control of the field, and that will be interesting.
Certainly could be. We might be looking for a very exciting finish here. It's a bold strategy for Micah staying out here, but I'm not sure it's the best one. He might get mugged here on old tires, but it's worth trying for that number 17 car. He has everything to gain and nothing to lose, and a quick caution could save him.
Yeah, if he's slow at the front of the field and they get stacked up behind him, or, you know, if everybody scatters and there's a yellow, it's a win for him. In fact, if he finishes ahead of 18th position with 16 drivers on the lead lap, it's a win because that's where he started. The person that doesn't like this is Ryan Luza, because therefore the number 1 machine's going to have to be on the outside of the front row, clamp it to the inside of row 2, you would think would be the better position. The 2 needs to get to the inside of the 17. If he gets stuck behind Micah, Luza could almost use that 17 as a pick on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Evan. Luza here, even though Luza is on the outside line, I actually think he's got a decent advantage because as long as he gets a good restart, he's going to be side by side with the 17 and should be able to get by with the new tires on the outside. Logan here is going to need to work really, really hard to get himself into some clean air and get to the inside at least of that lead of our current leader to try to be able to fight with Luza. I think Luza right now is the one with the, if it stays green, I think he's the one with the advantage.
Gonna have just 6 laps to go in the Lone Star stage. A quick yellow might give us a 1-lap shootout, but other than that, this is gonna be the final restart on the night in the NASCAR iRacing Class B Series 2016 Season 2, and it's round number 6. John and Micah looking to come out of nowhere, steal the trip to victory lane. The 2 dominant cars all night, and Luza P2 and Clamp it P3. Going to be Hungry Hounds and on his back bumper. Pace car down and away. 6 laps to go from Texas to 17. He'll lead single file to turn number 1. Luza with a big win because he gets in front of Clamp it to the inside. Side by side for the race lead. And Ryan Luza on the bottom going to get it out of turn 2.
He certainly will, and the next caution will end this race.
Contact. There they go.
This will end the race. Big incident here, Evan. That 17 car just lost his back end, caught the 2, but the 2 will hold on. Oh, big junk there back in the pack.
And that's called 2 tires. First time we saw the call all tonight. That did not work at all. And the 2 Clamp it, I don't think he was going to clear the number 17 on the outside, at least to turn 3 anyhow. So it should have been Ryan Luza's race anyways by the time they got out in front of each other. But the 1 machine made the right move. But the 17, he took a gamble. The gamble costs him a race, and it costs about 4 or 5 of the drivers their race because he caused some pretty big junk down the back straightaway, something that you don't want to see. There's always an unknown when you take a tire gamble like that. And I know that we said he might want to see a yellow, Randy. Not if he's the cause of the yellow. That's not anything that he wanted to see, and it's a tough break for the guys behind him who had nothing to do with it, just couldn't get out of the way in time.
Yeah, like, he definitely wanted to see the yellow, but he definitely didn't want to see the entire rest of the field when he's out his windshield when he's technically in front of them. So yeah, definitely unfortunate. Someone who I'm sure is somewhat happy though, although frustrated at the same time, Logan Clampett. He got a piece of the 17 car when he spun. However, he fortunately didn't get really taken out in that. Was able to keep the P2 spot. If we do get the 1 to go here, he's got some damage. It'll be rough for him, I think, to keep up with Luza as well as maybe even hold on to this P2.
Yeah, this race may not be done because I said if we get a caution, Reese may get 1 more attempt at going green. If we go any further than that, then that was going to be the last restart. I'm not convinced that we're done yet from Texas. The race might be done in regards to, I think Luza's going to be able to get it if we go back green. You got Clampett, who's going to be on the outside with damage. It's set up for the number 1 machine, but who knows what could happen. This next time around, though, we're going to get 3 laps to go. If we get the 2 to go and then the 1 to go, you'll have a green-white checker finish. But as long as the lights go off as we take lap number 99 and 2 times around, we can get at least a 1.5 mile shootout. The drivers, though, this time by will have to wait 2 more circuits around before we see the command from the tower. But I don't think that Luza is going to be able to just pace all the way through for this checkered flag.
Certainly will be, and hopefully we'll get to go green once again, because this will make things interesting. Clampett picked up a bit of damage in that incident, so we'll have to see exactly what happens.
This time, lights stay on at 4 laps to go, and we'll see as we come around 3 laps to go. if this race will go back green. We have 16 drivers on the lead lap from Luza up front down to Alex Scribner in 16th. The lights will remain on this time by, at least for now. If they come out the next time around, you are going to get that one final dash towards the checkered flag, and doesn't look like Lewis is celebrated. If anything, he straightened himself out in his chair and he's ready to rock and roll. I think we're going to have a one-lap shootout to decide your winner tonight at the Texas Motor Speedway.
I think you're right here, Evan. And Ryan Lewis, this is going to be a restart he definitely has to nail. Because while, Logan Clampett already, obviously, has that damage we've been talking about, that car, Trent Ringler, just behind him, if loses it, or if Luther doesn't get the restart he needs, Trent might be able to hang with him, might be able to make something of it going into turn 3 and 4, coming to that checkered flag. But we're going to be, you never want to say this, but moving up right now, it's all eyes on the pace car to see whether or not those lights turn off.
It'll be a wait to see the fate of this race. We've done 98 laps this time by of competition. Seen a handful of caution flags, too early and too late. Do we get, though, one final attempt at a green flag finish here tonight at the Great American Speedway? Ryan Michael Luza running P1 right now. Logan Clampett at P2. Are they going to line up side by side one more time? Survey says lights out, one to go. It'll be a one-lap restart the next time by from Texas. And with that, we insert one more chapter into tonight's competition. Ryan Luza has to nail this restart and hope that he can just get well out and in front of whatever awaits the rest of the field in turn 2.
Yeah, we certainly will have to, as the pace car lights have in fact gone out here, so we will get a single lap restart here. This is going to be exciting, Evan. We're looking forward to some major racing here. Clampett is on the back foot. Luza has everything to lose. Yes, I just said that.
Yeah, he's got a clean car, so he has the advantage per se. Logan Clampett, a little bit of right side damage, still P2. Do we think that one machine's going to be able to hang on?
It's going to be tough to say here, actually. It's going to be really tough to say, but I think it's in Luza's pocket.
We're going to find out as the pace car going to duck away for the final time this evening. It'll be one lap to go. As long as we take the green, the next flag will end it, and that flag going to be the checkered flag. Doesn't matter what happens between there and the finish for those final 1.5 miles. Here we go. Luza to the bottom, Clampett to the outside. Green flag and 1 lap to go.
Luza does get himself a good jump here, and he's able to get himself out in front of Logan Clampett, but he's exactly what he needed. However, the biggest story, I think, the car that was running P3 of Trent Ringler got a bad restart, and he's side by side with Brandon Bowie as they come off of turn number 2.
Bowie, Ringler, they'll battle for third behind the race lead, but as they stay full on the throttle to turn number 3, it is all Ryan Luza. One final restart to test him, and he'll pass it with flying colors. Turn 4 for the final time. Checkered flag and win at Texas for Ryan Luza. Winner over top of Logan Clampett, who has to settle for P2. Ringler going to be able to sneak away with that number 3 spot. Bowie and Michael Wade will round out your top 5 finishers. Too much Luza for Logan Clampett to handle there. That one machine, after he took over, he absolutely set sail and was the class of the field in that final half of the race.
Absolutely was, Evan. What an incredible race. Of course, early domination by Clampett, but just a short run car. I think the early cautions we had really masked how bad that car was in a longer run. And, well, Michael Luza, he had a car that lasted. When he got out front, he had a car that could stay there. So, very important if you want to win a race.
And the big thing there was getting up to speed. You know, if we're talking about a 2-lap to go run, a 3-lap to go run to the end there, Logan Clampett can drive it in hard down into turn 3. But the problem was they really still weren't up to speed. So if you didn't get to the inside on the restart, you weren't going to catch him because they held that pedal down all the way around.
Yeah, they certainly will. When coming from that restart, getting them spooled up, you're basically flat out all the way around. Good for Trent Ringler to get himself a P3, and also very good for Brandon Bowie, to move himself up from 21st position without a qualifying time up to P4. Extraordinarily strong finish for him, Evan.
Let's take a look at your full field results here from the Texas Motor Speedway. Ryan Luza, your winner. He finishes 2/10 in front of Logan Clampett, who's going to come home in P2. Trent Ringler, third. Brandon Bowie, fourth. And Michael Wade will round out your top 5 finishers. Ray Dorn with a solid result. He'll get a P6 out of it. 7th for Brandon Thomas. Brian Ammerman comes home in the P8 after he started top 3. P9 tonight for Chad Harner, Paul Bliss. Going to round out your top 10.
Coming home in P11, just outside that top 10 is Brian Tate in that number 21 car. Behind him, well, the 22 car, Sean M. Ryan will come home 12th. Brandon Holder will come home in P13, position at 14. Nick Neben. John Micah, after that brave staying out, he comes home in 15th after the incident we saw him involved in. P16, last car on the lead lap will be Alex Shribner in the number 11. Cars that finished the race lap down, Adam Burley in the 5, Edward Bursch Jr., Jeffrey Parker in P19, Ryan Nerfenegger in P20, Landon Esquerria, Michael Van Dorsel, Jake Hayes, and Justin Douglas.
That's a look at your entire field of 24 drivers. Will step away, return to close things out here tonight for the Texas Motor Speedway. That will get you set for some NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series action right here in 1 week's time. You're watching iRacing's NASCAR Race Night on Race Spot TV. The post-race show is next. We're back live at the Texas Motor Speedway for the Race Spot TV post-race show. It's NASCAR Race Night here on Race Spot TV, Advanced Choice TV, as well as streaming live on iRacing Live. We're happy to have you back with us. Evan Pasoko, Rachel Whiteford, Randy Chad at topside with you, and Hugo Louise downstairs in the director's chair. An exciting finish to this one. Ryan Luza just too much to overcome late. He'll take home the checkered flag over top of Logan Clampett, the number 2 machine, going to come home in P2 tonight. I believe we have caught up with him, Rachel, down trackside.
We certainly have indeed, Evan. We're joined here by Logan Clampett today, who was driving the number 2 Chevrolet. Logan Clampett came home, of course, in 2nd place. Logan, not the result you wanted here today. Of course, you started out front on the pole. That car just didn't have the long run legs it needed.
I mean, yeah, it was a great race. We killed everyone on the longer run there, and the caution came out, and it kind of all went downhill from there. But I don't know where we were dominant at, but everyone just seemed to fall off on the longer run.
Certainly did. Of course, big drop off here at Texas, about 2.5 seconds all told. The late race cautions, bit of an impediment. Could you have done with more? And what a save on that final yellow flag we had when you got collected by the 17. How did you hold on to that one?
I don't know. I just counter steered it to the right there. So luckily I saved that. I don't know why the 17 took 2 there, since he really can't handle it. But I mean, I don't think I was gonna get Ryan either way. I just thought he was a lot faster than me, and I had a bunch of damage on the right side there, so I lacked speed on that 1 lap shootout.
Of course, a great result for you coming home in 2nd, and I believe we're going to be catching you this Tuesday coming in the Peak Antifreeze Series.
Yeah, it's going to be hopefully a huge comeback in the Peak Antifreeze Series on Tuesday, and I think we hopefully have a good setup for that race, and just looking for a top 15 that race and try and get top 30 in points.
Well, good luck with that, Logan. And you came home, of course, today in second position in the race. Thanks for joining us. Evan?
So that is tonight's second place finisher. Logan Clampett comes home just 0.2 of a second behind your winner. Ryan Luza takes the checkered flag. And Randy, you've caught up with him down in Victory Lane.
Sure am, Ryan. Congratulations on the win. You started P2. On that first run, you basically held behind Logan the entire time. However, after those yellows and that long run, we saw you get out ahead and really stretch a gap. Were you just slow on those short runs, or were you just playing it conservative from the start of the race?
We're just conserving tires a little bit, because if you had to go 50 laps on a fuel run, the car really will start getting loose on you. And I think that's what started happening to everybody else there on the long run. So just conserving a little bit and hoping for a long run. We got 1 or 2 there, but then the second half was somewhat a caution fest. But the car was really good. Got to thank Jared Crawford for hitting me up with that, and just great car, obviously.
Yeah, we saw you and Logan. You'd be tied at the start of the run, but then you would stretch a gap. And really, in the early stages, it'd be a 5 or 6 car train up there at the front. However, 20, 30 laps into the race, you and Logan be separated and have a 3 to 4 second gap to the cars behind. The weather today, the track temperature was a little bit warm. Do you think that affected the way the tires dropped off at all?
Oh, for sure. The first 20 laps, it was really tight, and then all of a sudden, like a switch of a button, it just got crazy loose. Me and Clampett were out there up front. We were driving away, but the cars were not easy to drive. So we were still sideways, burning off the right rear, but just unbelievable speed in the setup.
Oh, congrats again on the win, Ryan. Anyone you'd like to thank?
Just Jared Crawford, as I mentioned, and all the guys at HPM, High Performance Motorsports, that work on setups every week, and hopefully we can have a good run tomorrow night in NIS.
All right, so that's Ryan, our race winner. Evan, I'm throwing it back to you.
So they went tooth to nail through the entire race, and it looked like it was going to be a Logan Clampett win, maybe a Ryan Luza battle for P2. But once that number 1 machine got out in front of the field, Rachel, Logan Clampett could try. They gave him one more shot on a late race restart, twice in fact, with that 1 to go. But Ryan Luza was just too much to handle. And I think tonight we saw the fastest driver take home the checkered flag. Logan Clampett, though, tonight making a statement that he's ready for next Tuesday. And we'll have to watch out for him, because that race as well going to be right here at Texas.
Yeah, Logan Clampett could be very fast next time out at Texas, but of course that is the big show, and he has a lot of people to compete with, so it's going to be an exciting race, of course, next Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern, of course. So we'll bring you the pre-race show and race coverage from the Pecan 3 Series powered by iRacing, but NASCAR race night at Texas. Evan, I think that was a great race. We had excitement, we had controversy, and we had some great results.
A nice little dose of everything. And again, if you enjoyed it, you're going to enjoy the next round of the 2016 NASCAR Pecan Free Series right here at the Texas Motor Speedway, coming to you next Tuesday, April the 12th, with coverage beginning at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Race Spot TV for the Race Spot TV post-race show. Before we step away, Randy, any final thoughts on what we saw tonight here at Texas with the B cars, and what we might be expecting next Tuesday with the big guns coming to town?
Well, we were talking about tires all day today, and considering that A car's got a little bit more power in it, I'm sure they'll be burning off the right rear even more. So that's going to be something to watch as we go into Texas, and be interesting to see if we can get another winner out of this series. The racing this season has been absolutely phenomenal.
And we hope that you enjoyed tonight's coverage, and we hope to see you next Tuesday as Race Spot's presentation of iRacing continues with round 5 of the 2016 NASCAR Pecan Free Series. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this presentation of Race Spot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live at Fans Choice TV. On behalf of our director, Hugo Louise, for Will Vincent, and for everybody else behind the scenes at Race Spot TV, for the broadcast team tonight, for Randy Chenoweth, Rachel Whiteford, and myself, Evan Pasoko, want to congratulate tonight's winner, Ryan Luza, tonight taking home the checkered flag at the Texas Motor Speedway, and we hope to see you all next week right here on Race Spot TV for the 5th round of the 2016 NASCAR Pecan Free Series, powered by iRacing, right back here in the Lone Star State, with coverage beginning with the Race Spot TV pre-race show just at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But until then, good night, and we'll see you there.